Welcome to Everything BS, YouTube site's first Snatch Game Drag Race podcast. Yay! Obviously the most popular episode of the seasons for RuPaul. We have a lot of special guests tonight, the biggest podcast we've had, so this is going to be probably a little difficult to get through everybody. We all talk at once.
It's our big opening.
First, Brandon Gonzalez with stunning Stephen Wyatt. To my left, we do have Amy Sulam, who's visiting us for her third time.
Hello!
Very excited. Amy's a comedian and a columnist for Out and About newspaper. You can find her on Twitter at Amy Sulam and at Instagram, snark_ology. And Out and About, her column is Snarkology. Next, we have, for tonight, Seamus O'Reilly. Shameless Seamus, if you are nasty. Next, we have James Grady. He is the managing editor for Out and About newspaper.
Woo!
Very glad to have him here. We do also have Brad Taylor. Brad, in the music world?
Yes, sir.
I know you mentioned earlier your second video will be
Starring me.
all right. Very exciting. And very happy here to have Glenn Stewart. Glenn, a country pop rock star.
Hey,
I believe
like that.
you originated the phrase "country that rocks." You can find him on Twitter at Team Glenn Kicks. And we're going to get started here discussing tonight's episode.
First thing we have to talk about, as soon as they started the episode, everyone was immediately shitting on Kennedy. They hated her from last week. Everyone's in agreement. That weird crystallized flame thing.
I was turning a trick, and then I was cut up and set on fire and crystallized, Homer Simpson. It's the Cleveland Brown of drag.
No one knew what that was, but it was good to see Bianca Del Rio do a little cameo on there.
Okay, so you know the season's in challenging condition when they have to have Bianca Del Rio come back. Really, Queen?
And all the other queens.
Hey, y'all remember how to be
We'll
funny?
get to that.
Really not.
So here's a question about the outfits, because everyone last week had to keep describing what their outfit was. You know,
It was
Jaden
Jessica
came out.
Gumser.
I'm the right. The death. She comes out and she's like, "Oh, I had to escape prison to go see my baby's daddy and get caught in the fence." So do the judges know this though when they're coming out?
Yes, it was supposed to be how your character died, and for some reason the judges didn't yell at Pearl because she came out with a neck brace and bandages, and on Untucked, Kennedy made a funny line. She goes, "What'd you die from? First aid?" But when Pearl was asked about that, she said, "No, it's not like I came in here without an idea. What happened was she originally was going to do death by tanning bed, but then when they did that group challenge, she used it and was like, well, fuck, I have to come up with something else." So, last moment, but that's fine. She wouldn't have been in the bottom anyways. So, it was good to see Bianca again, and we got a little bit of Katya's past. Apparently she was an addict to, she said, alcohol, crystal meth, and apparently anxiety. Now that
that was really strange to, and then get. Well, one thing, of course, I don't know how long they all spend together. I think every episode is actually a week for them as well, so they probably spend a lot more time together. But
it's been revealed by Jaden said it at the bars when she was doing question and answers. They said that they're not allowed to hang out with each other at the hotels.
At all.
So they don't talk to each other unless there's a camera rolling.
Yeah, they're supposed to be quiet when they go walking.
Which is weird because you could tell in the other seasons they all hung out. They were all probably fucking in the last season.
You know, it was probably because of Willem when she had her whole doing her thing. Yeah, mystery visitor.
Because I know talking to Jocelyn too, it was, I mean, those doors were like, they had the security tape and stuff, and they were, like in the van, they were on ice, they couldn't talk to each other, so really the only time that they saw each other was when they were in the workroom and on the main stage.
So I couldn't sneak out the balcony and climb down with something I made. And,
I mean, you could
and
try
get
it.
some trade down there. Pearl, is this your room? Pearl.
maybe there's stuff like some pillows up under the cushions.
You quit the challenge.
Alright, so
I wanted to just point out, like, Katya's moment with Fame I thought was really great, and just going back to, like, some of the stuff we've posted recently with Out and About from Brian Sullivan and Addiction Campuses, like, addressing the addiction issues that go on in the LGBT community. I thought it was really great and a really humanizing moment. It gives so much more depth, and it was really beautiful just to see somebody be open and honest about the struggle that is addiction, because I'm recovering from heroin, and I'm about as clean as Katya's been, and so it's cool to get to see, like, everybody has moments where they go, oh, I want to relapse so bad, and then you push through it and you have that strength, and if you've got a support system like some of us are lucky enough to have, then you can do it, and I think it's beautiful.
I just wish she had a more authentic bitch to come out to.
I do too.
There you go.
No,
Baby's going home. Sure, what did that come?
No, I do like how they also mentioned that some of the queens are sober. I know in the past, some of the queens have mentioned that they did like Special K and things, but never anyone you saw that they were sober, and that there are queens out there who
Not
are.
a lot of them opened up with that. Pandora Box did open up about being suicidal and whatnot, but going back to Katya and Fame having a moment, I thought it was kind of weird because she was like, well, you've been sober for how long? She was like, 9 years. I'm like, yeah, but how long have you been that shit crazy? Like, why would you confide with Fame? Like,
Right.
Like, that would be the last person I'd want to open up to. I would, I'd be like, Ginger, come here. Give me hugs or whatever.
Yeah. Fame is what, in rehab, what we called the sober robots. Because they're just like, everything is great, and I'm really stuck in my head, and I'm totally obsessed about everything. I have all of these feelings I don't know how to control. They're the sober bots. They're the sober sober bots. I want to know, how much of a rock star are you that in your 20s you bottomed out, that you've been sober 9 years before you hit 30? Yeah. I feel like a failure as an addict now.
That's what I was thinking. He goes, how long have you been sober? He goes, 9 years. Did he start at 12? He quit around
on that farm. He was on that farm.
I was sucking dick on a 10 speed.
Almost cocks you got raised with. It's a lot of chicken.
You know, I was out last night and somebody came over and said, you know, it's really hard to be sober here. And I'm like, me too. It's really hard to be sober. I haven't had anything to drink tonight. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh no, I've 39 years.
Oh.
I was like, oh.
Oops.
Yeah.
How'd that shoe taste?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Filet of soul. Sermon.
Thank you. Let's do it.
You just follow up. You know, you want to drink.
I'll take care of that one.
And that's my fearless leader.
Yeah, how cute.
Right,
how cute was he?
Before we get on to the Snatch Game, they had the workroom situation where Ruth's going around asking everybody what they're going to do, and the big hoo-ha was that there were going to be 2 Donatella Versace's. Mm-hmm. And you were going to have Violet and Fame. And originally Fame backed out and said, you can do it, and I'm going to do some medium.
The long medium.
The New Jersey psychic medium.
She's got the long corn-chip fingernails, big blonde hair, super tanned.
She wants to be a
Alyssa
Southern
Edwards.
Queen so bad.
Yeah, basically Alyssa.
Which is funny because then Violet went, after Rue basically stirred the cauldron and got Fame to go back to Donatella.
She just got the nerve to switch.
Violet decided to switch, and thank God
Violet played it smart. She played it smart,
and
she did what a lot of these queens don't do, and listen to what Rue says.
She did listen to Rue.
And she did it, and you know what? Her Alyssa Edwards was
killed
spot on.
She
It was great.
killed it.
Though you know what?
And then the other struggle was Kennedy Davenport between Sweet Brown and Lil Richard, and I feel like we already saw her do Sweet Brown during that weird commercial, the hair and the what was it? T-shirt
and an album.
CD and a T-shirt.
Album and a T-shirt. Album and a T-shirt.
And she really rushed it. She said, "No, I got time for that." So I thought if she would have done that again, it would have been like,
"Oh, Sweet
Brown."
Brown.
Yeah, Sweet Brown. Oh, now Steven's late on the flip phone.
They ain't nobody got time for that.
The last horse crosses the finish line. All right.
All right. So that was the before work thing. Now on to Snatch Game. You had the 2 guest stars, I suppose is what they're called. You had that really cute Michael Urie guy.
Who said nothing.
He laughed the whole time.
He was so excited to see drag queens. He was just doing this the whole time. He was just clapping the whole time.
Oh, dick, girl,
He's doing something on Logo because I keep seeing commercials. I'm like, who's that cute guy? And they're like, oh, that's Michael Urie. I'm like,
surprised on RuPaul now.
Don't know who that is. But yeah, so you had Michael Urie, and then you had Tamar Braxton, who seemed like she was impersonating Roxy Andrews. Like, it was how was
Roxy Andrews did her better than she did.
She did her, yeah. I mean, the question about Quentin Tarantino's directing Wizard of Oz, and she just goes, "Oh, she killed the Tin Man." Well, that was
she done killed
obvious.
Damn Okai. Like what?
SheKillHim.com.
Yeah.
Tamar was kind of a letdown. I would have rather seen LaToya back just because you know she's kind of creepy and weird. Like I think that Michael faked his death and became LaToya, but that's neither here or there.
Oh my God.
All right, we got.
You're gonna be thinking about that all night.
Yeah, it's there's a conspiracy theory out there. Hey, can we just say that Ginger Minge had a better British accent than Max?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're from different parts of Wisconsin.
Yeah,
All that tears.
well, you know what? Let's critique them in the order that they were sitting. The first one was Sharon. What Max was Sharon.
Okay.
Everyone discussed.
Here's the problem. Max has said before that she doesn't like being vulgar. Sharon's vulgar.
She got
Absolutely.
black belt in
Vulgar.
vulgar.
Yes.
vulgar.
So if you're
vulgar.
going to do a character that is creepy, vulgar, not you at all, you have to get out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
She was like, a haunted house. Okay, you know,
Oh.
that's...
Whatever
That's,
that level
yes,
is.
haunted house is Sharon. We all get it. She sang a song about it. But what else? Push in more. If you had then gone into a dialogue about how all these people died and then started laughing and it was hilarious, I'd be like, okay, maybe that's a little bit more Sharon. But she didn't.
It was an epic fail.
It was.
Does anybody think it's worse because she looked so much like her and had the laugh down that the rest of it just failed worse?
Absolutely, because all right. So let's the other side of that. It's when Sharon Needles did Michelle Visage.
Yes.
Okay,
Hilarious.
She nailed it.
like it was like, oh, huge risk, but she delivered on it and rocked it, and I mean, it was amazing. And just Max as Sharon, epic fail.
Now, who would you have picked for Max to do that? You're like, she could have done that really well and been funny with it.
Meryl Streep from Death Becomes Her. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I did that once though.
Yeah, she's been doing that. That's all she's been.
Because Max really isn't that funny.
Well, last week we were talking about, because we saw the picture of her and we're like, was that supposed to be Sharon Needles with like a Beetlejuice outfit? And then someone said maybe it's Lucille Ball, and I think she pretends like she loves everything else, so maybe she could have pulled off a Lucille Ball. Like,
Yeah, I don't think she
well,
could have.
Ricky,
She didn't have,
you know,
she didn't have the personality for
Could
it.
she have done it better than she did her Sharon? That's really...
I think she could have done that better than Sharon. I think she was trying to make Sharon into a pretty clown, and that was not.
I think
Yeah.
she thought that perfectly impersonating someone, like having their looks and mannerisms down, is going to equal success. But here's the thing: Coco Montrese looked just like Janet Jackson, but the bitch wasn't funny.
Right.
Yeah,
Snatch Game is
exactly.
more about humor than
How do you
actually
deliver
looking
it?
and acting like someone. Because just like we were talking about before, Sharon Needles didn't actually act like Michelle Visage.
Right.
She was like, we
Okay.
did that for a buffalo nickel
And
back
here-
then. You
yeah,
know, she made fun of
absolutely.
age. Like,
She
gave
did
us
a
Upwards, downers,
caricature.
candy corns.
Yeah,
humor is number one. Then
Absolutely.
spot on.
Okay, so all right, so season 4 or 5,
One
Latrice
of those
Royale,
numbers.
Latrice
Yeah.
Royale,
That's a
season
recent
4,
break.
season
Yeah.
4, right? Okay,
Yeah.
look at that bottom row: Jiggly, Fifi, and Kenya Michaels.
This honorable mentions.
That's just like it fell.
Throw
kind of
it down on
Yeah,
rubbish
something
bin
to say.
because
Yeah,
it was
something to say.
I was
garbage.
going to say, it seems to me that when somebody totally lacks humor, the way to go is to go with an entirely humorous character in a funny way. She
Yeah.
did done Kathleen Turner and just been
Yeah.
totally like
Oh,
deadpan
yeah.
on everything. It's
Good
been
one.
perfect.
Yeah, you're right. That
Be
would've worked.
Tammy
That actually
Faye
would've
and
been
say
interesting.
vulgar
She'd
things.
done better at Barbara Walters.
Oh my god.
All right, well that was
Her
Max.
age group would have been great.
Sitting next to Max was Jaden Dior Fierce as That's So Raven.
Okay. With her...
Started off okay.
Yes, no, it was like, okay, you're going... She had the lesbian comment, she had
Yeah.
the whole vision, like, I saw it again. I'm like, she's gonna do good. And then it fell flat.
Well, the only thing she stuck with was
She
the
should have
vision.
done the
Right.
Oprah line, like, well, I'm not black. Or what was it that she said to
Yeah, there's
Oprah?
several
Like,
things that she could have went
she
with.
could have gone with
that.
more than just one joke. She only had one joke.
And she could have made, like, a ton of lesbian jokes, because you know what? That's So Raven. She's a lesbian, so you know what? You have nothing else. Go with it.
Well-
She should have not been a label too, because she's come out several times. I'm not a
That's
lesbian.
true.
I'm not a label. I'm just that's who I like. So there's several things she could have touched upon, and I kind of agree with Michelle Visage a little bit. First, second time was funny. The third time, it kind of stopped.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, as a comic, somebody who makes their living telling jokes, if I'm doing That So Raven, I'm going in on fucking Bill Cosby like you wouldn't believe. Like it's church, I would have made every joke in the book that I could have pulled out of my little black ass. I would have done everything. Well,
Had a hood pop joke.
hers was
nothing.
bigger.
How many Jello Jigglers jokes would you have
Thank
done?
you. Yeah, a million. I would have been like, those Jello jigglers are roofied, or that. I would have been like, you want some pudding with opiates in it? Like I would have done a million things. Like you have to not be afraid to go there, especially when it's Snatch Game. Like Rue said in the workroom, this is a competition. So go for it. I would rather do something that's really risky and offensive, and it might
Was it
fall
a risk?
flat.
Well,
But I'd rather do something that might be a risk and let it fall flat than be safe and end up in the bottom too.
well, she also was a lot like Tyra, because when Tyra did Beyonce,
Tyra
she's
had
like,
immunity.
she's like, oh my god, I love Beyonce, I love Beyonce, we're gonna be best friends. And she used that as like, I can't make fun of her because I just love her so much.
Yep.
Jaden was like, I feel like Raven and I could be best friends.
Tyra
and so
had
she
immunity,
didn't
though.
push it.
Yeah.
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 I'm glad they got rid of that.
You know, the other thing though with Jaden,
Tyra or immunity?
Both. Both.
you know, Jaden, she's not that funny.
No.
But she has physical comedy down pat, and so that relying on the look, you know,
Yeah.
she can get that snap
It was
look,
perfect. Right,
and,
right.
She's
and so
funny when
she
she don't
rested
cry.
on it.
And she's actually delivered more emotion than everyone else on
Yeah.
the cast
Of
combined.
course.
She's crying every 2 seconds, so she's actually the most human person on there because
Yeah.
she is just giving you
I think
emotion.
Jaden's funny when she don't cry.
All right, so we were talking about That's So
Funny
Raven and
girl.
lesbian jokes. Well, moving on, we had Katya as Susie Orman, which was
She did.
It was surprising. I thought she was spot on with it.
I thought
she
she
had
was
all
too.
the
Oh my God.
mannerisms and everything straight down from the pointing and just that look and
what everybody was saying about that. She kept saying that she's so afraid that she's not going to be funny. It seemed like she only gave the minimum. Like she knew she gave a safe performance, but then she's always afraid to be funnier than we know that she really could.
Well, yeah, because even just looking at her and the kind of like when she does her little confessional things or the Untucked, she's hilarious.
Yeah.
And
When she thinks they're not going to keep that audio, like, oh, I can say that? Okay.
or when she doesn't think it's going to come back
Yeah.
to affect her, like, how does this affect your rankings? It doesn't. Okay, let me tell you what I think.
But you know, one of the great things about her is she was willing to interact with the other contestants.
I
right?
enjoyed
Like,
that too.
You know, without her, I think the whole thing would have been much less interactive and funny.
Yeah.
Everyone would have just had visors on. So everyone agrees that Katya did fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was good.
Though
All
I
right.
do want to see what she could have done with the Russian character.
Yeah, I was thinking she was going to do like who was Donald Trump's ex-wife? Like Ivanka?
Ivanka.
Yeah.
Oh, that could have been fun, but you know, she doesn't want to do that. That's fine. Next, we have Violet Chachki as Alyssa Edwards.
Loved it.
she was fantastic.
Yes. And when it first came on, and she was even doing like when you watch the YouTube Alyssa Secrets, they do the broom, broom, broom. She's doing
Yep.
stuff with her
Mhm.
fingers,
Even
and
I-
she did it
she
spot
never left
on.
character.
She was selling the overbite, and then she hit the table, a nail flew off. It was
Awesome.
actually hilarious. It was
And there
really
was one thing that she did especially well. People have asked Alyssa before, what's Alyssa's secret? And she had like
I'm a
8
man.
inches and fully fun. She didn't just repeat the lines.
Yeah,
she
she-
stuck to that same kind of idea, but it wasn't like
I'm
just
sitting on it. That
yeah,
was
I'm
great.
just repeating lines because then that's not funny. It's like, okay, we've heard that before. I'm coming up with new stuff that Alyssa would probably say.
Well, good thing with
Or
Violet
should
was
have
she had a
said.
good give and take. When Rue threw her a joke, she gave it back.
Absolutely.
So, unlike some of the other girls.
Yep.
She never left the
And-
character either. She
yeah,
was
and-
like Ginger. She kept that character even when the camera was on her when she wouldn't say nothing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, that's Alyssa sitting there.
Yeah, there were quite a
It
few times.
really was
Right there.
Alyssa. It
But
was
she
good.
pulled the door the same way, so she's got talent.
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, that's right.
But next you had Pearl as Big Hands.
Yeah.
That was
Oh.
funny. It was very, very
She
funny.
got a personality.
It's such good lines.
Can I
Yeah.
say
So
one
many good
thing?
lines.
I kept thinking she was still doing her Ginger Minge impression the whole time that she did at the Despy Awards. I'm like, she's just doing Ginger Minge, but as Big Hands. But
I also thought that when she was painting at the beginning of the episode, I was like, Morgan
Michael?
maybe? And then she comes out and is like, okay, you know.
Big Ange. Well, I'm like
Wow.
watching Big Ange, and I'm saying to myself, who is this again? Like, just because the personality was so big behind the character, and we haven't seen that out of Pearl at all, you know, and it was awesome to see. So
Yeah, I still have no idea who this Big Ange is, but it was
we want to know
fabulous.
now. You almost
Yeah.
kind of want to
Now
know
you
who
wanna
Big
look it
Hands
up.
was.
it
It
was
like
very
the giant breasts. and-
Teresa Giudice, the Division Horse.
All
Coming.
all she'll ever be to me is that gal played by Pearl. So
And you know what? She didn't have to have really big jokes. They didn't have to be really thought out. She just did kind of classic Italian mobster's wife and went with it. And you know what? That was
Worked.
perfect.
She lived the
So
character.
future RuPaul contestants, apparently, if you just do an Italian from any reality TV show, you're gonna
You
be
are
okay.
you don't need big jokes when you've got big jokes.
That's my theory. That's why.
Hey!
All right, well, moving on.
So I had 3 Snickers today.
All right, everybody, moving on. We have Miss Fame as Donatella Versace.
What a letdown.
Versace.
Okay,
Such a letdown.
I agree with Katya
She didn't
on
even
that
get the
one.
joke about how should you say the name.
Which one was
Depends on
Katya's?
where you're from. Like,
Katya.
oh no, you're supposed to say something like, you know, remember when
I
Radici
can't-
goes, well, Johnson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or I can't even pronounce my own
Oh, that's-
name.
Oh, that's
Look
okay.
at a big tan piece of jerky down there.
See, no, the skeleton made of beef jerky.
Yeah.
You know
That was perfect.
That line would have been funnier if it weren't so true.
Right. Oh, what an ugly man Donatello Versace is.
And you know what? The thing with her is she's been missing jokes all season.
Yeah.
This was kind of one of the ones where, like, you know, if you
Redemption.
do good in this, you're gonna win because you haven't been funny all season. If you suddenly get jokes and you're like hitting them on point, I think Rue would fall out of her
Which is
damn
weird
seat.
because he's still one of those front runners. He's never won an episode, but he's so great at the runway, and it's like, God, like,
But-
they're trying to give you a victory, and you just can't take it because you are just that bad. Like, Rue is trying to give you
See,
victory.
which makes me kind of want to see her lip sync, just so I can
So
be
we
like,
get
what
some
are you good
validation
at
or
besides
redemption?
just standing there and looking
Well,
pretty?
unfortunately, Pearl's not known. Not Pearl, but Miss Fame's not known for good lip syncs either. It's just,
Can someone just call her out on resting on
One
pretty?
time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you know what?
Michelle
Even
would
if
say.
she stays through till the end, I just want somebody to acknowledge it. You're pretty.
all right, we're straying off. So no one liked Donatella.
No.
No one
And
I
liked
will say,
it.
I did like the way she painted the necklines in.
Yeah.
Her painting was good.
Well, we know
That's
she's a
But
great
that's what
makeup
Fame
artist.
does. She
Right.
paints.
But it's easy to paint when it's like, you know, brown wall paint.
Right.
Well, can I say one thing? I thought she should have done the chicken lady from Kids in the Hall. Since
Yeah.
I mean, we know the bitch can do chicken noises. You should have just been chicken lady and called it a day. You would have won. But
I think that's a fair point, though. She can paint. It's easy to paint and make a house look gorgeous when the architecture is beautiful. You know, like, let's
Yeah.
see. I mean, I'm sorry, but,
Yeah.
like, let's
I
see.
know. Pearl's, yeah, I think meant Donatello.
Also, since we're on her right now, I want somebody to make the joke about her raising cock. We need to, like, did you grow up on a chicken farm? Because you can really raise some cock. Please.
Please,
I
Somebody
didn't
do
realize
it.
this is bad and blah blah blah.
and
it's
she
like, why are
still
you
wouldn't
talking?
get the
Now,
joke.
but
Yeah.
you would have to come in and tell the jokes. Punchline.
All right, well,
Yes.
we're moving on, and
Be pretty
Kennedy
and-
Davenport as Lil Richie.
Woo!
The first woo had me sold. With the
Hallelujah.
shoulder pads and that
Lip
weird
gloss.
pedo stash going on. Like, I was sold.
So I kind of want to know if other queens in other seasons are going to try to do some kind of guy drag. Because
But
As
they've
long as-
done it.
As
they've
long as
done
you're
it,
funny. As
but I
long
want to
as
know
you're
if,
funny.
like, the next season we're going to see 2 or 3. And then half of them are going to suck, and then that'll go away until some other queen comes back and does it really well. Then they're like, we can do this too.
If they can't do it, see ya.
Yeah.
The key is to drag yourself up so much that you look like a drag king when you're
You're
done.
doing a
Yeah.
character, and it's not like
Well, that's
you.
what
Like
Richard-
he was wearing shoulder pads. He had the curls. He looked like an old decrepit man. And the funny thing was, he was funny. Here's the thing: if you're gonna take that risk and do boy drag, if you're not funny, I don't care how bad someone else is. If they did a female, you're automatically in the bottom 2. You're automatically in the bottom 2, no matter how bad everyone else did. So
Yes.
it's a risk.
It is a risk, but it can also pay off well, as we saw tonight.
Well, now it's really opened the door for anyone. You know, we may have one woman next week or next year. You know, and
Well, maybe that's why they decided to give a double victory.
I'm already
Well, I think
Because
they're
maybe no matter
both
what,
very- I
maybe
enjoyed
the
that.
most you can do with boy drag on Snatch Game is to share a victory. Because maybe they'll never fully reward boy drag. So they'll say, all right, you were the best, but you'll share it. Although I think the next contestant, Ginger Minge, was the best as Adele.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There was with her as I was watching it, and just all like she stayed in character 210% of the time,
She had the
and
accent
she
down.
had the accent, the mannerisms, and it was very much Ben Della Creme of season 6
Yeah.
Yes.
doing Maggie.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was like that good for me.
right.
And she even looked like her quite a
Oh,
bit,
she
and I was
absolutely did,
very
yeah.
impressed with that. Especially when she came out in her runway, and then it was completely different. She can show that she can do different styles of drag and paint herself differently, and still do it well.
Yeah.
We've seen queens before try and be like, they've gotten criticism, like, I'm tired of you doing just this, show us something different. They come out and we're like, maybe go back to doing the other thing.
yeah.
You know, I think if you look at number 2 and number 3, in my opinion, number 2 and number 3 are Little Richard and Sue Zorman. They both did a perfect Little Richard and a perfect Sue Zorman. She went totally over the top.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And that sold it. You know,
That's what drag is. Drag is over the top. I mean, trust me, that's what I dress for most days when I go out in public. Except for today. Thank you, James, for pointing that out.
She dressed like a whore today.
I did. Today I look like a slubby whore. But
Not a clown whore this time.
no, I
Though
just
I approve of it.
I look walk of shame today, but that's fine. It's fine. It's cool. But I think the idea with drag is that it is over the top. So have your personality over the top. If you're gonna do Sharon Needles, do Sharon Needles on motherfucking Mars.
I mean, she
do it like
could have like had blood dripping out of her mouth. At
that's
one
what
point.
the hell I would have
And
done.
then just kind of gargled it like, I'm sorry, I'm choking on blood. And you know what I'd feel like?
No. Sharon Needles as pageant queen.
Oh.
You got to do something strange.
But see, you know what? Queens have tried doing that in the past. We've said that the Puerto Rican queens, this is their kryptonite.
Yeah,
Kenya Michaels tried to do like a cracked out Beyonce.
Oh, it's the medication.
And everyone's like,
Nobody knew who that was. Yeah.
what are you doing? If you pick someone who's kind of alluded to that in the past, made a joke about it.
Yeah.
Okay, Beyonce, where does that come from?
Right.
You call Beyonce a crack
Who's
whore, and you're
Adela
finna
Cruz?
have the army on you.
I just want to go on the record. I like Puerto Ricans unlike these other people. So.
Oh no, I like Puerto Ricans too. Puerto Rican queens on Snatch Game, with the exception of Alexis Matei,
Yes.
who did she
Holy
did
Cheese,
well.
It was good.
Yes, it was good, but it wasn't amazing.
Right.
She was the one that was like, okay, you're doing okay. The rest of the Puerto Rican
She
queens,
was
this is not
good.
their thing.
I've always thought I don't understand Puerto Rican queens when they come on the Snatch Game. I don't know why Yara Sofia thought she could do Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
And also, you know,
Who was
you had LaNation Sparks who did like I'm gonna do the Queen of Salsa, but it's
Oh,
like, no
it's
one knows
Dela
her.
Yeah,
Cruz,
she
yeah.
sat there with the glasses.
She said they were
looking
gonna-
at that
yeah.
thing.
And it was
I
like,
don't
no,
know.
you have to be funny. I mean,
I flipped my hair.
Oh, we need
Yes.
a great Puerto Rican queen to come in and redeem the Snatch Game for Puerto Ricans
Absolutely.
everywhere. And they need to do Sofia Vergara. Just fucking
Yes!
get out there and
Yes!
look at the look.
Yay! Yay!
All she has to do is when they ask for an answer, just make it sound like you don't even know what you're saying. Oh, I love that Lulu.
Right.
What?
And you know who wasn't going to do it? Candy Who.
Yeah, Candy.
Anywho,
I love it.
Well, I kept
Using
saying, if your last name's Ho, unless you're Wendy, you got to go. No, we got to do the runway outfits.
Oh, okay.
The,
My favorite part.
Yeah,
Okay.
Steven's favorite part. He's gonna go take a nap. We'll wake you up when it's over, Steve. As you can see, his fashion sense he's on it. But,
I get home from work and I'm right in my sleep
When
gear.
you say leather and lace,
it was leather and lace.
if
was the
I see
category.
any pleather or that fake,
Hot
cheap,
topic.
yes, I am going to come up there and punch you in the damn face. As much as I love Jaden,
Hey, we're not on Jaden yet.
Okay,
We're gonna go in
okay.
the order. We're going in the order that the ladies came out, and the first bitch out the gate was Ginger Minge, and I wrote down Elvis Chrisley.
But I thought she looked like a boy gypsy to me, like the blinged out shirt and the sticking up hair to me, and that might just be a cultural thing. But if you haven't seen the gypsy stuff, Google American Gypsies boys. That was the look. That was the aesthetic to me.
Well, Ginger did say that she was trying to channel like a Elvis kind of look with
Elvis
the
is a
pompadour, but
gypsy.
not as good as Sharon Needles.
Elvis was a
Version.
gypsy, though. By the way,
Yeah.
I was thinking she was kind of doing like an Ed Hardy does leather sort of thing with like the rhinestone cross on the back. I was just thinking Ed Hardy.
I don't know, with drag, I think she should have done Priscilla. The hairdo would have been there anyway. She done more Priscilla look.
It was
No,
very
she was fine. She wasn't
I agree.
terrible.
She was pretty, but I was
Yeah,
just
it was-
going for the Elvis. I would go for more the female version.
And I give her props for doing a color that wasn't black for leather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does get points for that because if you
Right.
say leather and lace, okay, you don't have to do black.
It was very grease. For me, it was very grease. It was very pink ladies.
I'm excited, James. I'm excited to hear what you got to say.
James has something to say if he can get it.
I know. I mean, what the hell? You know, I'm gonna be the outsider and say I was actually impressed with what she did. She came out and I thought, okay, you know, I'm not a big Ginger Minge fan, but she looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And she had the white, and it was very striking. And I got the Elvis reference, so I thought that she was one of the better ones this time.
For a big girl, you know, it's tough for the big girls to get praised on the runway because they barely do. Unless you're Latrice Royale, who was a pageant queen, but most big girls get eaten up where if a little girl like Pearl or Max did that, they would be like, oh, that's perfect, we
But
love it.
especially with leather.
Yeah.
It's kind of like she looked old.
Amy,
You know, it's hard out here for a blimp. I'm sorry, I couldn't
Oh,
resist.
she's
I'm
no.
sorry,
All
I
right,
couldn't-
all
I
right. That
couldn't-
was
I couldn't.
Ginger Minge. Next out of the gates, was Katya. And I just wrote down
Oh, yeah.
confident whore / Xena warrior.
Freaking awesome.
I loved it.
I would do Katya in that outfit.
I probably would too.
I like that
Yeah.
Katya's always blonde, and it's weird that no one's ever called her out on it. Like they're calling out
She's
Meg.
a
But,
Russian.
Call.
but we don't need her to change because she's good the way she is. I actually liked her outfit this week, and she was thicker than normal. Like she did a lot of padding,
Yes.
but
yeah.
she
That's
sold
great.
it.
Amazing.
Awesome,
She
too.
looked so freaking good.
She looked like a dominant woman. And
She probably borrowed something from Kennedy. Or,
Yeah.
so they had to
Why
patent
did
that.
Well, see, but if she bought it from Kennedy, it would have been terrible with rhinestones.
45-year-old
falling out.
Britney Spears come out there. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
It was good, and they didn't say anything about her wig. Finally,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I thought it was a weird. I'll go back to the Snatch Game. I remember Susie Orman looked down at Dontel and said that wig wasn't a good investment. And I'm like, you've been yelled at for your shake and go wigs. Don't mention wigs.
To
Don't
me,
mention
though,
wigs. You're doing good right
The time
now.
that she got nailed with her slim hair, the one before she had the biggest hair of all.
Yeah.
But then they nailed her about the line, like, the hairline.
I
So
mean,
they've yelled at her about her.
And there's always going to be something. In this episode, Michelle was even going, like, with other queens, like, if I had to pick something because Michelle can't say something nice and just something nice, and then they'll go on. So they pick on her for the wigs. If that's
Alright.
the worst thing, you can
Yeah.
fix
Well,
that very
that's
easily.
Katya. The next girl was Kennedy Davenport. I wrote down Black Morticia Adams.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
It was actually finally she finally delivered a decent runway
Runway
look
look.
because
I
she
didn't
usually
like it.
comes out
I
with
didn't.
overly done.
Crystallized chicken.
Yeah.
Thank
She
you.
usually-
James and I are on the same page.
She usually comes out with these overdone pageant gowns, and then she does that pageant walk where she points at the spot, she circles it, and she
I like
points
that, though.
somewhere
Well,
else.
she did that tonight,
She
too.
called out on tonight, though.
Yeah, but she did it,
Alyssa
and it's
used
something
to do
that she would never
She
wear in
pointed
a
where she's
pageant.
gonna go.
Yeah,
She got there.
well, it's just Alyssa. She's
Well,
crazy too.
Have you been to a leather pageant? I could see her being in it. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I like
Of
her
course
outfit.
you've been to a leather
Of
pageant.
course I have.
But
Well,
it
did
doesn't
you-
say
did
anything
you
because
like
it's just
the
been asked
outfit?
out the whole time.
Did it-
An American older women.
Moving on, my
not
personal
enough babies.
favorite runway outfit, which I was a little mad that the judges didn't get to critique it, was Violet Chachki's bondage gear.
Oh,
She
living.
killed it.
Yeah.
Got my life on
All right,
that one.
Amy's got the live. Steve, did you have an idea about that?
Oh, I loved it.
She can sit on my face.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am. Yes,
if you say
ma'am. But
that-
sir, I'll call you
Yes,
sir.
God.
Yes,
Not
God.
We're all in agreement.
Yeah.
She understood the challenge.
Yes.
She had the mouthpiece in and took
She
it
took
off.
it off, and then
Oh,
like
she
all
was
of a sudden,
tied up first,
You
and
know,
then she
yeah.
broke free.
and then she pulled that whip out of God knows where. She pulled that thing out.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Her
There's
snatch.
only one reason she was taking that mouthpiece out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Look,
about
if
that.
she'd have had a twat, I'd have fucked her. She looked hot.
I mean, Violet
Were you
Chachki
gagging
nailed it.
on her eleganza?
she would have been gagged.
All right, we all gagged on the eleganza, but next up, we had Max, and I just wrote down what was with the shoulder reveal.
Yeah.
Like she had like something on, and then she
Okay,
turned around,
so-
and she took it off, and it was just her bare
Okay,
shoulder.
so with Max,
no
I think
padding, no painting for the breasts.
that outfit that she wore when she came out with the crutches, I think she took some black spray paint to that
Yes.
same outfit and used the same damn thing.
Yes.
The only thing that was missing was the crutches because it was too familiar.
She was almost
Yeah.
walking the
And
same
Mary
creepy
done it.
way.
And you know what, too? Even that she came out with the black wig, you didn't notice the wig because it
Same
was
style.
just lame. It was the same
Okay.
exact thing.
I want to say one thing about that wig, though. For both times, this season and last season, that Michelle Visage has said, she told Milk, you need to change something. Right after they change it, they get sent home. Don't listen to Michelle. That's
Okay.
the moral of the story.
Can I say something? First of all, that wig was just her gray wig, but black.
Well,
It was-
yeah.
It's not like she came out with red hair and it was long and flowing. She did the same style that she's done with
Yeah.
everything else. And she came out wearing the same outfits we've seen her wear
Okay, she should
over
have
and over
taken
again.
Jaden's wig and then...
Yes!
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with that. It's something bigger than the same hairdo just sprayed on paint. Like,
Right.
Yes.
While we're on the Max thing, can anyone possibly try to explain the corset and then coming back and sitting down?
She was
And
trying
just
to
singing.
get out of
What
like,
was that?
latch ditch efforts. This is like Mimi I'm first picking up what's her face and
Indiana
being like,
Farah.
I have nothing
India Farah.
left. I'm
Yeah,
giving
India
it.
Farah, yeah.
Let's make a scene.
I thought that she was trying to show that, like, because they said something like, you weren't good as Sharon. So I was like, is she singing now? Like, yeah, I know that Sharon sings too. I don't know what she was trying to
Taking a moment, what she
pull
said.
there. But then she said, oh, I'll just take advantage of any opportunity I get. And here's the thing. that corset wasn't too tight on her. She's that skinny.
Okay,
a corset does not make a skinny girl. Ooh, like if Violet Chachki had done that last week, I would have believed it. And
I would have been like calling 911.
Yeah, if Violet Chachki would have done that last week, I'm like, yeah, this makes sense because she has no oxygen going to her brain, so now she's singing all over the place because she's dying. But yeah, with Max, that was a really
after Violet Chachki, shut your whore mouth about your corset. That's my.
I think it's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, right? It's a Scarlett O'Hara moment, and Scarlett O'Hara was annoying in Gone with the Wind, much less on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Frankly, Max, I don't give a damn.
Also,
that
I will say that it was kind of sad because Max has actually been a front runner. She won episode 3, which was the Shakespeare one. Yeah. She's already got a challenge in, and she has not done bad in any episode except for today. So the first time the heat was on, she imploded.
Though it's also, she hasn't been the best at a runway. When they had the Everything Green challenge, she comes out with like the little
pasties.
and then she tries to explain it. You know, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't the challenge. If she had done a bright-ass green with the side, whatever the fuck those things are, and like the 2 ones on there were like fucking clovers,
green hair,
I would have been happy with it. I'd be like, you know what? You did then, at that point, do the same amount of green as Violet Chachki. But your greens were very muted.
Violet had a lot of green on, and she was barely wearing anything.
That's a talent right there.
But I have to say, I understand it's the future of drag when they're trying to do the like waif kind of thing from the 90s supermodel. But from a woman's perspective, like when I think of drag, I think of over the top, and I think of tits, I think of ass, I think hips, and I don't like seeing them come down the runway showing this waif look because I'm like, I'm sorry, and no insult intended to any like really super skinny bitches out there, but sticks and stones don't make a woman. Curves make a woman. It's drag. It's drag. Put some titties on. It's drag.
Now, see, Amy, I feel exactly the opposite. The last 2 seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race are the only ones I feel like I give a damn about
because you want to fuck them.
Finally, they've got some twinks on there, and I have a real Max boner, but he really.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say one thing before we put the final nail in the Steven, calm down. Before we put the final nail in the coffin. Before we put the final nail in the coffin for Max, I will say one thing that really disappointed me about Max was
everything.
All you have to do is look at Pearl. Pearl is at least painting and contouring breasts.
Yes.
And Max still came out there just with a corset on, but no illusion of breasts. Pearl comes out there without pads on, but Pearl at least can paint some tits on. Yeah. He never even bothered to try. I think that's that phoning in personality. He said, "Bitch, you got to go."
Yeah, I don't want to be the Michelle Visage too much, but I'm getting boy. I'm getting boy.
No offense, Amy, but you're a lesbian. My favorite kind of woman is a dude.
Well, if my favorite kind of woman was a dude, then I probably would have got wet when I saw Max. But that's not happening.
All right, everybody, we got 3 more contestants next. No, later. We got 3 more contestants to go. We have, we're all in Nashville, so why not Jaden Dior Fierce? All I wrote down was, at least it's not a singlet.
Okay, you know what? I love Jaden. The skirt was okay. Skirt was okay. If she had done just even a corset, it didn't even have to be leather.
Look at my body.
I'm gonna say it. Please. I'm gonna say it. She glued a skirt onto a top.
Yeah,
we get it. You glue stuff onto stuff.
It's sad, but she did.
Girl.
I think that she got knocked for this outfit. The Kennedy's last week didn't get knocked at all.
I agree.
Yeah,
she should have.
She didn't get it all the way on there this time, but I still think it was better than Kennedy's last week.
Yeah, but this is this week.
So
this week,
she got red on last week's too.
Her last week was fine, but we're talking about this week.
All I've got to say, Amy, is Jaden Dior timid.
You know what? I have to concur. I have to concur.
She's kind of like Katya. She's holding back.
She's holding back, or either that, or she doesn't have it to give. I'm sorry to say it, but
because you know what, she has got
our guest next week. I hope you're all.
I can text her. She has got this over the top personality, like in real life. She's over the top and she's funny and she's just exuberant and stuff, and it just fallen flat.
You know what? I think she's getting caught up in her head a little bit because I've seen her in person. I've seen her on the show. as we said before, when she's not trying, she's funny. Hearing her talk in bars, she's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And then as soon as she tries to be like I need to have a joke
here's
right
the thing.
now.
They're so completely out of their element at the show.
Oh,
Because
yes.
they're like prisoners to them.
Yeah, they're prisoners.
they're
They don't
locked
talk to
in
anyone
their
else.
Damn room. It's a psychological mind fuck.
And then
The
they're
whole
told,
entire thing,
if you're
you know?
not funny, we're going to kill you. If you don't fucking say, if you
know?
don't deliver us a tagline, so that's why she's saying, #fierce, #this. No, it's because they're not being themselves right now. They've been forced
Absolutely.
into the
I think
spotlight.
she's got something else on her mind too. It's like we got a touch of it last week about.
Oh,
She
yeah.
knows this
yeah.
episode. She's on TV. She's not out to her family.
Or family.
This is outing her to her family. And I think she knows
Yeah.
it. It's getting to her mind, and she's not performing to it. It's right there. When I was 29, when I came out of the closet, I know what she was talking
Gay?
about.
Last year?
I
What?
knew that. You know? So I felt,
He sure is.
I felt connected to her at that point. I know what she's going through on the show because she's thinking they're going to watch this. It comes out. They're going to know this, and then my whole life is different.
Yep.
I think it's affecting her performance.
I will say she's actually great on TV. She's showing emotion and she's being very entertaining. And actually, her lip syncs were great. She's good on the show. The only thing that she's lacking on that show is actually just the runway. Everything else is fine. I thought her Bianca Del Rio was
amazing.
Won that
I thought she won it.
screw.
I thought her and
Yeah.
Violet were gonna win because I thought her and Violet did
Yeah.
the best, and I don't know why Kennedy got it. I thought they were afraid Kennedy wasn't gonna do it good ever again.
Yeah.
But Jaden, she's got the personality and everything
Oh,
else.
yeah.
It's just that
Her
I think
confidence.
she's too young, and I think they should have given her a few more years to develop her runway looks and perfect those sewing skills.
But also some of these queens, they don't really have to do runway in the club. She's known as the pop princess here. So she has to move around and dance, as she's shown before. She's walking back and forth. She's moving. Some of these other queens wear very tight-fitting dresses. You can't move in that. So she doesn't have necessarily the runway that they're looking for.
She's the only one that's an MC to me that can
Yeah.
actually
Yes.
hold a crowd and
Yes.
bring them
You know what? I would
together.
also give it to Katya, because she seems like she could as well. And Mrs. Kasha Davis.
All right, well, that was Jaden. Moving on, we got
to the death.
Pearl. I
War.
wrote "pretty in pink?"
Yeah,
for Pearl.
Eh.
But someone
wore
said
the-
it was
she wore
the
the promotional trailer.
It was the promotional
from
trailer.
when they all start walking to each other and Connie's like rubbing, "I'm here to steal stuff." It's the same. It was the same damn outfit they used at the promo.
That's not a
Well,
bad
I
thing.
don't think Pearl's brought a lot of outfits because she's.
I don't
I've
think
seen
Pearl
I've
has a lot of
seen a
outfits.
lot of her. Yeah, I've seen a lot of her stuff online, and I saw a picture of her wearing the neck brace with the dress she wore on the Despy Awards. It's making me think like, oh, she's running out of outfits now. And I've seen I've seen other seasons where a girl borrows something from someone else.
Yeah.
So I think maybe I don't know why they would, but someone's gonna have to start loaning her shit, or she has to come out in boy mode, which we will all be excited about.
How
by
she
the
look-
way.
you know what?
How does she look in
Hello.
singlets?
Yeah, come out with the singlets. Hello.
If I were Pearl, I wouldn't have a lot of clothes either.
Nope.
Borrow something from Violet, please. Borrow one of Violet's stuff.
Or let Max leave his stuff. Just bring it up if you inches.
Borrow Tempest crabs and Max's nipple covers. We'll be happy.
All right. Well, we didn't have a lot to say on Pearl, which is weird. Every week normally.
But you
Pearl
know what?
gets the-
We already said Pearl had a great personality. I want to see more of it. She's doing
Yep.
great so far.
So we're on to Fame, the last one, and I wrote down Dark Vampire.
Looked like something out of the Venus catalog, like as a housewife who
Yeah.
decided she was going
You
to
know
get
what?
sexy for a minute.
On just completely forgettable.
Yeah.
What?
I don't remember what she was wearing,
Yeah.
actually.
She was wearing like some leathery fake thing corset, and then
It was weird because
Yeah.
What?
It was
the
like
leggings,
What
the
the
leggings were
Fame?
beneath her knee, were above her knee, so it almost looked like.
It was. She borrowed something from Max and stitched it with that thing over her dress.
But she
Yeah.
at least contoured or did padding or something,
At
so it
least
was a
she
little
knows
bit
how to
better.
stitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had titties. It's a new discovery for Max.
Which,
Titties.
after watching tonight with everybody, apparently everyone wants Fame to go home. So
okay.
this was everyone
I like
was
looking
saying
at
she's going home. Steve
I
and
think
I
it's
were
cute.
the only two. Steve and I were the only two that said they're not going to put Fame in the bottom. It's going to be Max and Jaden. Everyone said Jaden's not going there. I'm like, watch, it's going to happen.
I felt a little bad when Max had her moment. I've been 9 years sober. I'm like, okay, I don't really want to send you home because you were nice right now, but you've served your purpose.
Yeah.
No, that was Fame, not Max.
Fame.
Yes, Fame. Excuse me. Send them
But-
both home.
But
Oh,
send them
there's that
both
one.
home. You have no
I thought it was really hot until
personality.
I heard it was 9 years sober. I'm like, you can't be any fun. All right.
Well, the bottom two was Jaden and Max, and the lip sync song was No More Lies, something to do with the phone. I get it that RuPaul can afford a lot of these better songs, but no one knew what it was. I love how Michelle Visage still tries to pretend like she knows these songs. Like they come back to the judges.
I'm 100.
Yeah, I got this, but clearly Michelle does not know the lyrics.
There's no more cold-hearted snake.
And I wish they would just exactly.
She can't
It
afford
was,
the licensing.
Whatever.
Please,
Jaden-
for the pennies she's making off of me for doing her song.
We all agree that Jaden did better, but Max didn't really do
Max,
anything.
I want to see Max lip sync to like.
She's gone.
Well, no, I want to see her just like in a club or something. You pick your song that you think this is my best one, and I want to see it because Max couldn't move for shit.
Yeah,
And
Max can't lip
You don't
sync.
necessarily
I
have
think she
to.
done gave up on that one already. She's kind of like she was just.
She knew she was going
It's
home.
possible she already got the checkout from the hotel, which they do.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Going into it who's going home.
Or at least lip syncing.
Yeah.
At least lip syncing.
Okay.
All right. So
We're all in agreement on who went home.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
Yes.
Jaden Dior, I will say, I think she did the exact same dance from last week. I think it was the exact same moves and everything, just
little
different.
Well, she
lip
catches
syncing
the
blocks.
snaps.
But it was enough to send Max home.
Yeah. Which
And
Max
that's all
didn't do
I care
anything.
about.
Max lip synced more when she took off the corset and laid on the stage.
Max
than
knew she was
did.
going home.
Yeah.
Yep.
She had
I
better
mean,
checkout
after
from the
that
hotel.
whole thing, when everyone's staring at you like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'd be like, you know what? I'm just gonna go start packing my bags. Jaden, you can lip sync. I'm gonna use this opportunity back.
But seriously, this season I wish I could be the guy behind stage that really helped them feel better about it when they had to go home.
You're good. I'll give you a ride back to the hotel.
I mean, come on.
Hey, look at that hotel.
Here's one of those Jell-O
Another
jars.
hotel along the way.
Here's
Here-
We should
here's
get a
Jell-O
room.
jigger.
Okay, we'll see you in a couple of weeks when y'all come back.
All right, I think
All right. Well,
we're set to sign off.
We're going to sign off, and then we're going to move on to Match Game, which Steven's very excited about. So that was Everything BS. We did the, oh my god, first Snatch Game. I think it went well. We've never had this many people in one room. That wasn't the bedroom. Steven, do you want to sign everybody
I missed
off?
that episode.
You know everyone?
Yes, thank you, Amy Sulam,
People.
Seamus,
O'Reilly.
O'Reilly. If Seamus sounded a lot like Cody Tracy from last weekend, then weird. We also have here
Nice to notice.
James Grady, Brad Taylor, and Glenn Stewart. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Of course.
Hopefully you'll be staying on for our celebrity game, where we do have actually 4 celebrities here. So, well, Nashville celebrities. That's me. And then real celebrities.
His
So-
multiple personalities.
I'm a legend
All right.
in my own mind. All right, we are signing off. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.